This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
All right, I'm going to play you Ketanji Brown Jackson asking questions from the lawyer that wants to gut the Voting Rights Act because the Voting Rights Act is racial.
I don't think we can assume that just because race is taken into account, that necessarily creates an equal protection problem, because I understood that we looked at the history and traditions of the Constitution, at what the framers and the founders thought about. And when I drilled down to that level of analysis, it became clear to me that the framers themselves adopted the Equal Protection Clause, the 14th Amendment, the 15th Amendment in a race-conscious way, that they were, in fact, trying to ensure that people who had been discriminated against, the freedmen, during the Reconstruction period, were actually brought equal to everyone else in the society. So I looked at the report that was submitted by the Joint Committee on Reconstruction, which drafted the 14th Amendment. And that report says that the entire point of the amendment was to secure rights of the freed former slaves. The legislator who introduced that amendment said that, quote, unless the Constitution should restrain them, those states will all, I fear, keep up this discrimination and crush to death the hated freedmen. That's not a race-neutral or race-blind idea in terms of the remedy. And even more than that, I don't think that the historical record establishes that the founders believed that race neutrality or race blindness was required, right? They drafted the Civil Rights Act of 1866, which specifically stated that citizens would have the same civil rights as enjoyed by white citizens. That's the point of that act, to make sure that the other citizens, the black citizens, would have the same as the white citizens. So they recognized that there was unequal treatment, that people based on their race were being treated unequally. And importantly, when there was a concern that the Civil Rights Act wouldn't have a constitutional foundation, that's when the 14th Amendment came into play.
I mean, wouldn't you rather have a big brain like that on the case? Wouldn't you rather have somebody that was willing to meet the originalists on their playing field, in their home stadium, and take them on their own home turf and win? She totally won. That is originalism. What she did was originalism. She showed them the original intent of the 14th Amendment to the Constitution and the 15th Amendment of the Constitution by going and analyzing the origins of the 14th Amendment. The legislator who wrote and introduced the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, what were his words? What was his intention? And the framers who actually crafted our Constitution felt that this was not a race-neutral society that they just codified into being. And so she actually says to them, you want to do originalism? I'll do your original. I'll see your originalism, and I'll raise you a 14th and 15th Amendment. I'll raise you a Civil Rights Act of 1866, and I will show you what the intent was. Their intention was never to be race-neutral. Their intention was never, ever to do anything on a race-blind basis. This country was not founded on racial blindness. And she totally kicked their ass. I mean, totally. Now, will they still protect our voting rights? I don't know. And you know what else we have? We have 33 damn days left before this midterm to find out whether or not you will vote in and have your vote counted in Nevada, whether you will vote and have your vote counted in Arizona, whether you will vote and have your vote counted in North Carolina. Now, North Carolina is interesting because, you have a whole bunch of election deniers on the ballot all across this country, in Nevada, in Arizona, in North Carolina, all over the place you have election deniers, people that will not certify the results of an election unless they like the results of the election. And that is an epidemic, and that is dangerous, and that is what we're on the precipice of figuring out. Where can we now vote? Which states will actually respect the will of the voters? Obviously, you have candidates that don't respect the voters. That is why I chose to show you how disrespectful Herschel Walker has been. That is why I'm choosing to show you how disrespectful Rand Paul was last night by refusing to even discuss issues of value and importance to voters in Kentucky because he didn't feel like he had to. He felt like he could piss on you. He felt like he could disrespect you. He felt like he could ignore you and your concerns. He felt like he didn't have to answer any questions, like the seat belongs to him and not you. They are the most disrespectful, the most obnoxious, the most vile people who are in this game of politics just for power, not for results, not for solving problems, not for doing anything, for the people who they think are just going to blindly elect them cycle after cycle. But here we have this crop of people who don't even want you to vote. Not only don't they show up anymore to, address any of your concerns or to answer any of your questions or to show you why they're better for your community or better for your state than their opponent. No, they don't even show up anymore. Okay. And the ones that do show up on the TV, they go to friendly places so they could lie to your face and they could say that they're saved, they're born again. I mean, Herschel Walker's been born so many times again and again and again. He's got like rug rash on his freaking head at this point. Okay. I mean, honestly, he's probably still suffering from cradle cap, from being born so many damn times. And he's lying. That's the sick and sad part. He's bearing false witness. He is literally lying. He is lying about what he believes in. He believes in nothing but power. He's lying about what he's for. He's not for anything. He's for, whatever gets him, power. They have no principles, okay? But now we're going to figure out in 33 days whether or not you can even vote. So Roe is gone, right? Roe is gone. And Herschel, it's personal. It's personal behavior. This is about my personal life. Well, choosing to have a baby or choosing not to have a baby or choosing to go forward with a pregnancy that is not viable or choosing not to go forward with a pregnancy that's not viable is a very personal thing, in case you haven't noticed. But he doesn't want you to have personal choice. Only he can have personal choice. Okay. And, Rand Paul thinks there's this tone and tenor that prohibits him from getting on a very serene, controlled debate stage with a very serene and controlled, honest man who wants to talk about his solutions to difficult problems versus Rand Paul's, hey, I don't have to do anything because I'm a libertarian solution to anything that ails you, right? And also attack people who actually try to solve our problems with regard to pandemics, with regard, it is, they are so disrespectful to you. So now if there's no Roe for Republicans to argue over and there's no voting rights for them to argue over, what's left? Why would they want power? Because they want to steal. That's what's left. All this chaos they created so they could steal. All of these lies so they could steal. The big lie is the big lie because the big lie created chaos. You saw the chaos. People are on trial for the chaos right now. People have been on trial for the chaos. People have gone to jail for the chaos, and more people will go to jail for the chaos. Okay, but the chaos was so they could steal. Steal what? Well, in that case, an election. In the coming cases, you won't even be invited to vote. You won't even be invited to vote. So all the effort into stealing will be to steal the trust funds, steal the rest of the money, steal the Medicare trust fund, steal the Social Security trust fund. You're talking trillions of dollars, trillions. And once they steal all that money, what's left for them to do? What is left for them to do? Run the government like the mafia, meaning, oh, you want to be in business? Well, you're going to kick back 25% of your profits, if not half. They'll decide on a case-by-case basis, I'm sure, how much you have to kick back to them in order to have a business in this state or that state, in order to have a business in Kentucky, in order to have a business in Arizona, in order to have a business in Nevada, in order to have a business in North Carolina, in order to have a business in New Hampshire. They will decide how much you have to kick back to them to keep the money coming. That's Russia. That's not America. That's an oligarchy. That's not a democracy. That's an autocracy, not a democracy. And that is the goal. That is the goal. That's why they're going after your personal freedoms and your rights as you know them today. And in 33 days, we're going to find out whether or not any state was successful in doing that. That's why we only have 33 days left for you to become engaged, get yourself registered, and vote. And vote for democracy, and vote for decency, and vote for somebody who has principles. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to randyrhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.